Okay, I think I got it working. All right. So I saw a wonderful quote today from, let me see if I can pull it up here. Abbot Tryphon, I think. He's from All Merciful Savior Orthodox Christian Monastery. And he was talking about something that Elder Paisios had said, and then he just gave his own commentary. And it had to do with seeing the best in others or looking for the flaws, as far as called the difference bees and flies, and that bees are attracted to flowers and sweet smells, whereas flies are only attracted to dirt and stench. And so then he gives a description and says just briefly, as we examine our life, we must decide whether we will be a fly or be, and not to judge others and to look only for the stench and dirt, or do we look only for the good in others and see the stench only in ourselves? Which there are definitely a lot of Orthodox support for doing that. As far as being critical of self. Now, of course, in nature, I mean, there needs to be both, right? And I see that too in people, in the sense that there's need for things to be correct, and so it's not that you're looking for that which is wrong or whatnot, but for safety or whatever in science, or something that needs to be exact about whatever. And that it was making me think of something that had to do with my father, Earl, yesterday was talking about just the nature of gossip and how divisive it is. And so I was thinking for myself just what it meant to be, what it meant to me, and how I would describe it. And I got it down to, I think, 3 things. One has to do with, and these are in terms of why would someone gossip. There's, I think, a natural inclination to, Twitter, about, the good things that people will have as milestones. So and so got married, so and so, blah da da, got a new job, whatever. And that, when you're passing on information like that, that's very joyful. But there's also the other side of it, and it's not the opposite. And that's the sense that, there can be an importance to explaining from one person to the other when it doesn't breach that person's confidentiality. Oh, they're going through a hard time, you don't have to say why or whatever. But that the subversive part of it is when there is sought to be a perceived control over the information, and therefore that is thought of somehow by that person, was going to bring them some sort of advantage in either a situation, or changing and shaping and manipulating the way that people view themselves, not saying certain things or allowing people to believe lies, and just things like that. As far as, in contrast to the sovereignty of God, and if you're always trying to shape one thing to be to your preference or not, the trust in God is kind of, to me, in question, because I would think that if it were confident, which I'm not sure I want to use that word because I think it misrepresents what I'm trying to say, but it's the closest I'm going to choose for this time, then the focus on the other person isn't paramount, and that's what makes it so devastating. When I was really young, I talk about this often, that my mom used to have us leave well before there was like the schmooze time. Like after services, maybe grab a bagel quick, but go. Sometimes not even, just go. And I would ask her, why are we leaving so early in a hurry? And blah, 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 blah. Like we wouldn't even wait for the announcements sometimes, and she'd be ushering me out the door. And she'd say, because I don't want to stand around and gossip. And that was an amazing example to set for me at such a young age, I'd have to say, just as a standard. But as much as I think she herself didn't want to gossip, she also didn't want to have to be asked questions that were uncomfortable. Fair enough. So, unfortunately, it sheltered me from being able to learn how to navigate that territory. Then, as an adult, when I became Baha'i, backbiting is eschewed completely. And so again, I was in a situation where people don't talk about one another, but in my experiences in the Baha'i faith, it was so extreme that it became detrimental in certain ways, and I've talked about that before, but I'll go into it again if somebody has a question about that. That again, I didn't have the experience of it, so except for like high school and grade school, which were short, and who I chose to hang around, it changed it because of the focus of what people would talk about. As an adult, when I left one particular area that had been a great support to me and went to another area where there was a super small Baha'i community and just like very, very little, if ever, interaction, I was plunged into a very secular cultural experience, and I found myself in gossiping situations all the time, like very bad and nasty ones that, I mean, when I think about that story in Judaism of, take the feather, take the feather pillow and gather all, I mean, it's just like really, really bad, 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 bad ones. So I had to learn, and I think of it like how to, because people are curious, and sometimes people are wanting to help, but sometimes people, of course, just take whatever you say to use it against you, even the most simple things. So it's kind of a strange thing. But he was talking about, how to really stop that from happening, because it just, it's so degrading. And I'd like to hear back how other people have dealt with this in their lives and in their workplace and in their church, if it's been an issue, or on YouTube, of course. I mean, it's anywhere people are, because people talk, and I would like to hear back. So please tell me what you think. Peace on your heart.